Hello everyone, welcome to Study IQ IAS English. My name is Shubham Sagar and today we'll be doing lecture 16, which is the second part of Delhi Sultanate. See, so first of all, let's rewind a bit. Let's talk about what we discussed in part 1 a little bit. So we were talking about Delhi Sultanate, how Muhammad Ghori died without any, successors, son or daughters, and he used to say that his slaves were his son. And out of these slave, Kutubuddin Aibak was one of his most trusted slave. He founded, or he established rather, that is the correct word, slave dynasty or Mamluk dynasty, which led to establishment of Delhi Sultanate. 1206 to 1290 AD, slave dynasty or Mamluk dynasty, majorly a period of consolidation because they had made a lot of enemies, Rajputs, Mongols, and even within themselves they were fighting. Yalduj, Kubecha, Bakhtiar Khilji has established his own Khilji dynasty in Bengal, which is not to be confused with the Khilji dynasty of Delhi Sultanate. And then in 1290 AD, after the rule of Balban and his grandsons, and the son of grandson will be killed, Kaikabad, Kayumar, and Khalji dynasty will be established. And then we have talked about Khalji dynasty, although they ruled for 30 years, but those 30 years were very significant. Good evening, Bulbul. And what happened during the period of Alauddin Khalji? Market reforms, 50% taxation, which was one of the highest, if not the highest ever recorded in our history. All these things we have discussed. So now we have to proceed further from Alauddin Khalji. What happened after Alauddin Khalji? In the latter part of his reign, or in the latter part of his years, he became very suspicious. If you see his policies, how he used to control his nobles, Barid and Mohniyan, we have talked about Johnny English yesterday, and Barid and Mohniyan, spies. So you can understand that he was suspicious from his early period only. Nature and signature do not change, and in this scenario, the nature of Alauddin Khilji was such that he did not trust people easily. And you can understand it via the scenarios via which he came. He killed his father-in-law, and what happened, we have talked about it in the previous lecture. So we'll start today's lecture. What happened after Alauddin Khalji? Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid dynasty, Lodi dynasty, and as is the custom from last 3-4 lectures, what we were doing is we are taking 10 questions. 10 questions which include PYQs, practice questions based on whatever we have studied up until now. So let's start with some questions and then we will deal or enter into Tughlaq, Sayyid and Lodi. The first question for the day: Mongols under Genghis Khan invaded India during the reign of 2001 question, and after that, from 2020s onwards, UPSC has started again focusing on Mongols. So what is the answer? A. Balban, B. Firoz Tughlaq, C. Iltutmish, or D. Muhammad bin Tughlaq? Good evening, Sundaram. Good evening, Paveen. Good evening, Kritika. Food for thought, everyone. Very good evening. So, first question: Mongols under Genghis Khan invaded India during the reign of, and the answer is, you have 10 more seconds and then we will proceed further. The answer is, post it in the chat section, people who watch it later, post it in the comment section. Make it a habit of solving these questions. The more you solve, the better you will become. Bulbul, Sundaram, Kritika, they have given the answer. The answer is Iltutmish. Here they are asking Mongols under Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan died in 1227. So the people who are answering Balban, how are you answering Balban? Dude, during the period of Balban, Mongols attacked. Battle of Beas River happened in 1285. This we have discussed in the previous lecture. But no Genghis Khan was there. So Mongols under Genghis Khan invaded India during the reign of Iltutmish, and that year was 1221. And Genghis Khan, if I am not wrong, he died in 1227 AD. So this is a very tricky question. Mongols, they did attack during the period of Balban. They did attack during the period of Alauddin Khalji. Even Muhammad bin Tughlaq, we will see later on, he wanted to go to Khurasan and attack Mongols. So all these things happened, but here these 4 words are the keywords: Mongols under Genghis Khan. So this part you have to keep in mind. Oops, didn't read the question properly. We have to read the question properly. Fine, sir. So the answer is C. Let's solve second question based on what we have read earlier, and then we'll move on to Tughlaq, Sayyid and Lodi. And not only Tughlaq, Sayyid and Lodi. In between there will be various provincial dynasties which we have to talk about. In Bengal there will be Ilyas Shahi dynasty. In Gujarat there will be a dynasty which will change their capital from Patan to Ahmedabad. Patan was the capital which was made by Chau Lukyas. We will talk about all those things. So we have to talk about provincial dynasties also. What was happening in Bengal? Jaunpur, Sarki dynasty. Sar se jo Sarki wo धीरे धीरे. So Sarki dynasty of Jaunpur, Siraz of the East, we'll talk about that as well in today's lecture. Second question, what is the answer? during the reign of Kala Shoka, who served as the presiding authority at the Buddhist council held in Vaishali? A. Mahakashyapa, B. Sabakami, C. Mogaliputta Tissa, D. Vashumitra. UPSC loves to ask questions on Buddhism. Please revise Buddhism. Please revise their council. They have already asked these kind of questions earlier, and they will keep on asking these kind of questions in future as well, because UPSC loves Buddhism. So what is the answer of this question? And fast, sir and ma'am. Paveen has given the answer, and the answer is? The answer is, you people have still not remembered and revised Buddhism properly. The answer is Sabakami. Vashumitra was 4th Buddhist council. You people have to revise all these stuff, bro. You people have to get better and better. So we have seen this, and this is the second time we are solving these kind of questions. Mahakashyapa first, Sabakami second, Mogaliputta Tissa third, who is supposed to be the 100th brother of Ashoka, and Vashumitra and Ashwaghosh 4th Buddhist council. Please revise them. Please go back and revise Buddhism lecture. We have discussed all these things earlier as well. Very good. Now let's come to Tughlaq dynasty. So Tughlaq dynasty 1320 to 1414 AD. Let's have a first of all discussion about Tughlaq dynasty. We can see the slides later on. Let's try to understand the chronology, as our Honorable Minister Sir says. So what is the chronology? We have seen Alauddin Khalji 1296 to 1316 AD. That was his period, Alauddin Khalji. 1316 he dies. During that period, 1316 AD, there was one guy who was very influential, Malik Kafur. You may have seen him in Padmavat movie, Jim Serb. That guy played Malik Kafur, Jim Serb, awesome actor. And awesome hair he has. So Jim Serb, Malik Kafur. So Malik Kafur will start playing a lot of politics at the end of Alauddin Khilji's period. He was playing even in the mid also. But at the end, what he will do, there will be a very small infant son of Alauddin Khilji. He will install him. And he's around like 3-4 years old. And then Malik Kafur will be killed. That guy will be, that small guy will be deposed. And then there will be an elder son of Alauddin Khilji who will come. But that guy has some, he was, homophobic, or not homophobic is not the right word, but he was homosexual. That is the correct word. I take my word back. So Mubarak Shah Khilji, who is the 4th ruler of Khalji dynasty. 3rd was his very young brother who was removed. Kafur was killed, Malik Kafur, and then Mubarak Shah Khilji will become the ruler. But Mubarak Shah Khilji, there was an issue with him. This was the issue. This is not an issue. This is actually fine now. Aadmi hu aadmi se pyar karta hu. What does it mean is that he was a guy and he used to love guys. That is totally fine. We are, same-sex marriage. We are currently discussing whether we should legalize it or not. Decriminalization of homosexuality. This has happened. Section 377 IPC. I have also made a video on this, whether we should legalize same-sex marriage or not. So we have nothing against, you are a man, you can love a man. Mubarak Shah can do whatever he want to do. We are talking about Mubarak Shah Khalji, but you cannot force other people. You cannot force yourself upon other people, and that's what Mubarak Shah Khilji was accused of doing. So there was a journal of Alauddin who was known as Khusro Khan, who was working under Mubarak Shah, and it is alleged that Mubarak Shah Khilji forced himself upon Khusro Khan, who was a guy, and not only Khusro Khan, there was a brother of Khusro Khan upon him as well. Khusro Khan, in disgust, killed Mubarak Shah Khilji, and he ruled for a brief period. Then all these disgusting things, so-called disgusting thing. Again, we have nothing against homosexuality, same-sex marriage, all these things can happen. The only thing here is you cannot force yourself upon others, and that is what we are against. So that was what was alleged against Mubarak Shah Khilji. So Khusro Khan killed Mubarak Shah Khilji based on, according to various scholars, disgust. And then Khusro Khan was killed by this Ghazi Malik. So he ruled for a very brief period. Khusro Khan belongs to neither Khalji dynasty nor to Tughlaq dynasty. Don't get confused here, right? Ghazi Malik, this guy, he will be founding Tughlaq dynasty, and he will be later known as Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, 1320. And he was warden of the marches of, marches against the Mongols under the Khaljis. How you can understand it? I think some of you may have watched Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, you may have seen, there are some people who are guarding the borders. Similarly, he was the guy who was guarding the borders against the Mongols. So he is the warden of the north. Game of Thrones initial seasons were awesome. Later seasons I did not like it because that deviated from the book. So that's how you can remember this guy, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He was warden of the marches against the Mongols under the Khaljis. Now this Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq guy, he will rule from 1320 to 1325 AD, So we understood the meaning of this particular image. Now let's talk about Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, 1320 to 1325 AD. 5-year period, and it is said that, please understand this, Ghayasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, they are following something known as Catholic approach. Catholic approach to religion. Now, what is the meaning of the term Catholic approach to religion? What does it mean is, both Ghayasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, they are very tolerant of other religion. Very means you can take it with a pinch of salt. And in fact, we will talk about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He went to the mausoleums of Sufi saints. He went to the dargahs of Sufi saints. You know, Sufism, or he was one of the first rulers who went to a Sufi dargah. We are talking about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So they had, this is called a Catholic approach. We are tolerant of all religion as far as Muhammad bin Tughlaq as well as Ghayasuddin Tughlaq are concerned. And then we were talking about expansion thing. During the period of slave or Mamluk dynasty and Khalji dynasty, mostly they were focused on consolidation. Then we have talked about Alauddin Khilji in the previous lecture, how just like somewhat similar to Samudragupta, he has different stages of annexation. In the first stage, areas closer to Delhi, he captured them. And then in the second and third stage, he started going to Deccan area. But he did not capture, you know, the southern part that much. He was like, accept our subordination, give us some, you know, money, and that's all. But during the MBT period, you will see expansion will happen as far as Dwar Samudra up to Karnataka. That far, you know, rapid expansion will happen. But that will come with its own ramification, with its own issues. And what are those issues? See, you will realize 1320 to 25, this is the period of Ghayasuddin Tughlaq. Then what will happen? After that, MBT will come, who is very famous and infamous for so many of his things. We will talk about that. So MBT is ruling from 1325 to 1351 AD. During his period, during MBT's period, Ibn Battuta will come. Ibn Battuta, bagal mein juta. So Ibn Battuta will come and he will write a book known as Rihla. So please remember that. So MBT 1325-51, expansion has happened. Delhi Sultanate has reached as far as Dwar Samudra, as far as, you know, southern tip it has reached. But now, people will be very disgruntled with the ruling, or, you know, the way MBT rules or ruled at that point of time. And that's why you will see, and please pay attention to the chronology here. That's why you will see, if I erase this part, upper part, 1336, Vijayanagar Empire was formed. That formed during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. 1347, Bahmani Kingdom was formed. That formed during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. See, most of the people, what they do is, they study everything in silos. So, they will study Vijayanagar separately, they will study Bahmani Kingdom separately, and nobody will study Ilyas Shahi dynasty. Around 1330s, or last part of 1330s, or let's say 1342, Ilyas Shahi dynasty was formed. So all these things are happening during the period of MBT and because of the rapid expansion which has happened. So these things you have to understand. Expansion came with its own set of challenges, and this part we have to remember. Ilyas Shahi dynasty, a dynasty which was ruling in Bengal. You can remember it from the name Suhaib Ilyasi. Who is Suhaib Ilyasi? We'll talk about it in just few moments from now. So let's have a look at the slide. So again, Ghayasuddin Tughlaq, Turco-Indian origin. And remember these origins, like in the case of Khaljis we have talked, they were Turco-Afghani. He is, or these guys are Turco-Indian, mother was a Hindu or from India. Fine. So again, just like we have talked about, you know, Alauddin Khilji killing his father-in-law, and same thing or similar kind of thing you can see here. This Ghayasuddin Tughlaq will be killed by his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq. But again, there is a question mark here. Why there is a question mark? Because there are different interpretations, whether he actually killed or this was an accident, because you can see what has happened. On his return from the successful campaign of Bengal, a pavilion erected by his son Ulugh Khan. And again, we have discussed this, the meaning of this particular Ulugh Khan. Ulugh Khan is just like a title, or like, you know, in Hinduism or Hindu Rajas or Hindu kings, they used to take the title Vikramaditya. Muslim rulers used to take the title Ulugh Khan. So, which earlier Delhi Sultanate ruler have you heard taking the title Ulugh Khan? Anybody having any idea? Ulugh Khan. Which earlier ruler took the title of Ulugh Khan? If you know it, you can post it in the comment section. So again, many people believe that maybe it actually broke down and it was not like Muhammad bin Tughlaq intentionally wanted this particular pavilion to fall upon his father. So there are different interpretations, but he was killed, Ulugh Khan. And now here you are seeing Muhammad bin Tughlaq is also known as Ulugh Khan. Ziauddin Barni, we have discussed this, that the major information of Khalji, Tughlaq, a major portion of Tughlaq up until Firoz Shah Tughlaq period we will be getting it from Barni's Tarikh-e Firoz Shahi and Fatwa-e Jahandari. We have discussed about this multiple number of times. Fine. So this image is a depiction, or this meme or gif, whatever is a depiction of MBT killing his father Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Fine. Then how they created a unique approach. Policy of annexation, they will go far and wide, and that is what is written here. They will reach up until Dwar Samudra, up to the southern tip of India. Very high degree of centralization, which will come with its own set of ramification, which we have just discussed. 1336 Vijayanagar, 1347 Bahmani, 1330s or around 1342 Ilyas Shahi. So many things will be happening. Very good here. Sundaram has given the answer, Dark has given the answer, Bulbul has given the answer. Very nice. So yes sir, welfare of people. So here we are talking about how they were generous. Like if you see Alauddin Khilji, his policy was that if you are sitting idle, then you will plot against me. So he has taken a lot of work and inam land or charitable land from these nobles. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq initially was like, no dude, this is not done. So we should give them some amount of money because they will die of hunger and all these things. So here you are seeing some welfare and humanitarian approach. Please don't get, fooled by this. Later on when we will talk about FST, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 1351 to 1388. Most of these policies you will say he is a bigot. We'll talk about who is a bigot. Bigot means there are three rulers who were very extreme when it comes to, following religious policies. One is Firoz Shah Tughlaq, second is Sikandar Lodi. We'll talk about him today only. And then the third is Aurangzeb. But again, we need to have both the positive and the negative points. So here you are seeing most of the positive points related to Ghiyasuddin and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. We already know so many negative things about Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so we need to know some positive aspect as well. Fine. Then relationship between state and religion. So he was a strict Muslim, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, but he did not accept the narrow interpretation of Sharia, and that is what is written here. Muhammad bin Tughlaq respected the Sufi sect. First Sultan, please remember this, anything first. We have discussed this multiple times. Anything first is very important. Your first love, your first this and that, first crush. So first Sultan to visit the tomb of Moinuddin Chishti was Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and this has been written in NCERT. When I will teach you Bhakti and Sufi movement, I will show you the exact page number where it is written. If NCERT is writing something, it becomes very important from exam perspective. So MBT was the first Sultan to visit the tomb of Moinuddin Chishti. This you will not forget. Fine. So Catholic approach they are adopting, they are respecting religion, and they are like, dude, when it comes to religion, we have to just chill. There was a movie of Salman Khan in our time. You people may not have seen it. There was a song, just chill. So they were chilling. The initial guys, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, MBT, they were chilling when it comes to religion, Catholic approach. But that would not be done by FST, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So currently, religion is not that big of a matter. So again, same thing is written here, highly autocratic and despotic, and separation of state and religion. They wanted to make everyone happy. Khalifa, you want your respect, so I will issue or we will issue coins in your name. Just everyone be happy, don't disturb us that much, Later on we'll talk about the nature of Delhi Sultanate. So many scholars believe that Delhi Sultanate was an Islamic state, Then Barni says that no, Delhi Sultanate was not Islamic state. He says that all the kings came and they formed their own policy. So it was Islamic state just in name. And here you are seeing all these things. So these initial Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq MBT, they are trying to make these guys happy, be it ulema, be it caliph, but they are not following blindly the Sharia or the rigid interpretation of Islam. It was basically under him that Delhi Sultanate reached its peak. And we are talking about MBT, that it reached far and wide, but with ramifications. So nature of kingship, we have talked about this. Catholic approach, what it is. Reform or blunders. Now we'll talk about those things which you people know somewhat, but maybe not in entirety, and then some more things. So what are the blunders? What are the reforms? He shifted the capital from Delhi to Devgiri or Daulatabad, which is in Maharashtra. You already understand this, that since he is expanding south or he is going southward, so he feels like if I am nearer to southern India, that would be much easier for me because northern India is already consolidated. Now I don't have to fear that much about Mongols. Genghis Khan is not there. He has gone back, 100 years back only. He has died in 1227 AD. And it is around 1325, 1327. Almost 100 years has happened when Genghis Khan died. Mongols are not that powerful anymore. We have curbed them to a certain extent, controlled them to a certain extent. Northern India is fairly consolidated. So let me go back to South India and let me capture southern India in a much better manner. What better way than to go to south and at a particular region which is not very far from north, not very far from south, and that is Maharashtra region, central India, Daulatabad, Devgiri. But that was if you see geography, if you read geography, so you will realize, I forgot. Yeah. So you will realize, you read about tropical region, temperate region, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, all those stuff. So you will realize that Delhi region, we have a continental type of climate. We have extreme, means summer, extreme winter, but we are in a temperate zone. If you see, I think we are above 23.5 degrees north, and they are here going to a tropical region. So many people died because of this, change in climate, change in weather, plus the lack of water and all those stuff which you can see here. Daulatabad was arid and did not have enough drinking water. People died. Change of culture, change of everything. But there was good thing also. These guys, these Muslim guys will be going from Delhi to Daulatabad. Not all will be coming back to Delhi. MBT will come back, and along with him other people will also come back, but some people will stay here, and these guys will later pave way for formation of Bahmani and Deccan Sultanate. So again, you can always extract something good out of nothing, and that's what UPSC preparation teaches you, that you can always think of the positive things. So here also, in this particular blunder of MBT, we can see that the influx of this Delhi residents to the Deccan region led to the growth of Muslim population and Dakhani Urdu. See, Amir Khusro, when we'll talk about Amir Khusro later on, you will see that he developed. Sir, how I apply for Udan batch, Bulbul? So, Bulbul, if you watch that 2 p.m. live of ours, I have told you that we have silver, gold and platinum plan. And the platinum plan, we have that Udan batch scholarship. So you have to apply for that. You can go to StudyIQ website, Bulbul, and there you can see all the information. Fine. Plus one more thing, Manisha has yesterday posted that only 5 PDFs have been, uploaded. So we have uploaded up until 10 lectures, and you can get all the 10 PDFs in the link which is given below in the description. And the further PDFs will be uploaded very soon. So 10 lectures, up until 10 lectures, you can get the PDFs, right? So yes, sir. So this is one, Dakhani Urdu. So I was talking about Amir Khusro. He has been credited for, developing this Urdu language, and the Deccan variant of Urdu, that is known as Dakhani Urdu, that was developed by Bahmani and Deccan Sultanate and some of these Muslim populations. So we can see the positive aspect, some of the positive aspect of a blunder, which is known as transfer of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad or Devgiri. Fine. Expedition to northwest and north. So he was like, dude, nobody is focusing on this south and Gujarat region, so I will focus there. Nobody is leading campaign to northwest Peshawar, I will do that. So these two things were still fine. This thing is very funny. This Karachal campaign, very, very funny. Why this Karachal campaign is funny? First of all, Karachal, this particular region belongs to, Manisha said, received, sir. Very good, Manisha. I saw your message today. So Karachi, and yes, you people were also talking about my Telegram channel, that when will I make a Telegram channel, whether I have it or not. So I will make it. I was thinking of doing it today only, but I was a little busy. So I will do it tonight or tomorrow morning, and in the tomorrow's lecture at 7 p.m. I will share my channel's name with you people, and you can join that Telegram channel. Fine. So Karachal campaign 1333. This Karachal area is in Himachal Pradesh. And he was like, dude, I will capture this Karachal region, and from here I will go to China and I will, just kill those guys, and I will win that particular territory. Forget about China. He was defeated in this Karachal area of Himachal Pradesh by a small dynasty which was ruling there, and he came back. All these things led to, decrease in prestige of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So please remember this Karachal campaign. Most of the people know about his, changing the currency from silver to copper and what happened, Delhi to Daulatabad. But Karachal campaign, they can ask you, Karachal campaign is associated with which of the following Delhi Sultanate ruler? So you have to remember. Plus, where is Karachal? It is in current Himachal Pradesh region. The aim was to go to China, but forget China, they were not even able to cross Himachal. So all these things, and that's why we have written this thing. They wanted to defeat China. He wanted to defeat China, but instead of defeating China, he got defeated by Himachal's kingdom. Okay, sir. Expedition to northwest. And then in the previous lecture, we have talked about different rulers' policy towards Mongol. So initially during the period of Iltutmish, who first suffered the, Mongols' attack because of Jalaluddin Mangbarni, Khwaziram Shah, he did not give him, asylum. So he did not face too much wrath from Genghis Khan, who was still alive during the reign of Iltutmish. So they were following a policy of aloofness or appeasement when it comes to Iltutmish and Razia Sultan. When it came to Balban, he was very aggressive, he was fighting wars. 3 Mongol battles he fought. Battle of Vyas River, 1285 is very important and very famous. I have made it famous because his son, Prince Muhammad, died in that particular battle. We have talked about it almost 2000 times from yesterday's lecture, right? Now, and in the period of Alauddin Khilji, we have talked, he faced this means Mongol attack almost 6 times. Battle of Kili is very important for us because in that particular battle, Mongols reached as far as Delhi and they seized certain areas, but then they went back. More or less, even Alauddin Khilji was able to control them. During the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, people became much more aggressive. He was like, dude, forget about them coming to our country. We will go to their area, which is Khurasan, which is Central Asia, and we will kill them there. We will, ransack them just like they used to ransack others. So he made a plan. He gave 1 year advance salary to soldiers, and later the other generals were like, dude, this is not feasible, MBT sir. We have already so many issues in South. So please look into it. Don't do these kind of things, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir. So the 1 year salary which was given to soldier was wasted. Soldiers were like, we don't have that money. We have spent it somewhere else. And again, this whole thing did not materialize. So all these things he was doing. So he had a very aggressive approach. Please understand this. During his period, forget about Mongol entering India. Mongol were like, dude, MBT will come. So again, there was a fear of MBT. Whatever you can think about MBT, but this is actually a very fascinating story. So make love, not war. But Mongols were known for making love as well as war. Many of the people, it is said that maybe some of us are descendant of Mongols because they went anywhere and everywhere. So they made love as well as war. Mongols, a very interesting, Fine, sir. Reforms of blunder, token currency. So token currency, everybody knows. We have talked about silver, taka, copper, jital. Iltutmish introduced silver, taka, copper, jital, right? So now silver is precious as compared to copper. Worldwide, there is a deficiency of silver. So MBT was like, dude, what should I do now? We don't have enough silver. We cannot issue silver taka. So we have to resort back to copper jital. So he resorted back to copper jital and he stopped to a certain extent issuing silver taka coins. And according to Barni Tariq-e Firoz Shahi Fatwa-e Jahandari, he started saying that almost every Hindu family, he was a little, orthodox, you can say. So he would attack Hindus in his book, Barni. So he would say that every Hindu family became a coin minting factory because everybody knew how to make these copper jitals. So again, because of this, what happened? There was too much, duplicate currencies and all those things. And he was like, dude, I am, SCREW. After that, you can fill it, whatever you want to fill it. So he was like, no, this thing also failed. Then he stopped the circulation of token currency and started issuing silver coins. So he was like, whoever has copper coins, bring it to me and I will give you silver coin in return because copper coin is not, working. We are having hyperinflation and all those kind of scenarios which you have seen, I think, recently in Zimbabwe and some South American country. If you know it, you can post it in the comment section. So all these things, you see, understand one thing. It was not like MBT was the first ruler in the world who did this particular token currency thing. Currently also we have a token currency only, bro. Whatever, the paper which you have, which is written like 500 or 1000, that in itself does not have that value. It is 500 or 1000 because RBI has mandated it to be 500 or 1000. It is also in a way token only. So you can say he was a very, futuristic kind of a king who paved path for us. We will see later on. This particular guy, MBT, he introduced Diwane Kohi, Department of Agriculture. He started Sondhar loans, loan for agriculture, which again failed because his officers were corrupt. But later on, other rulers will adopt it. So again, here we are trying to extract something positive out of this guy, about whom we know most of the negative things because we have to, balance it out. Kajal is saying he was not good with this reform, similar to German printing money post Treaty of Versailles. Very good, Kajal. So please keep it in mind. We have to understand both the positive and negative dimensions in both pre as well as mains. Fine. So currency circulation, what we were discussing, he was not the only or the first ruler in the world. Before him, only in China and other countries, they have tried this particular thing. In one country it worked, in other country it did not work. So you can say he was in some way unlucky. So we were discussing that he was not the first ruler in the world. In China, Kublai Khan, he introduced token currency and this experiment was successful before MBT. In Persia, Kai Khatu Khan, he also introduced token currency, but the attempt failed. Currently also we have a token currency only. So MBT tried, he did not succeed. You can say that his intentions were noble, implementation lagged behind. So yes, sir. Then this particular thing we are talking about, Takkavi loan or Sondhar loan. From exam perspective, please remember the word. Sondhar is associated with what? Just like yesterday we have talked about, this Barid, Muhniyan, then we have talked about Kharaj, which was land tax. We have talked about Khalisa, which is a crown land. So we have talked about so many terms in the previous lecture also, Delhi Sultanate part 1. So here, Sondhar loan, which is an agriculture loan. He introduced a department, Diwane-Kohi. Again, revised stuff. In the previous lecture, we have talked about Balban introducing a department of military, that is Diwane-Arz or Diwane-Aris. During the period of Alauddin Khilji, we have seen the minister or the person is a mumlik. So these things you have to remember. Token currency is a legal tender. Yes, exactly. It's a legal tender, Kajal. So here, Department of Agriculture, Diwane-Kohi was introduced, agriculture loan was introduced, and he was telling to these guys that please take loan. Just like Nana Patekar in Welcome was telling, Kande le lo or something le lo. So the intention here also, when we talk about Sondhar loan, when we talk about again, the agriculture department which he established, Diwane-Kohi, all these intentions are noble. But again, this particular Sondhar loan, agriculture loan scheme will also fail because of the corruption which existed among the officials. But later on, other rulers will implement it. So please, here the terms are Takkavi loan or Sondhar loan, Diwane-Kohi, then you have to revise Diwane-Aris, Arize-Mumlik, all these things which we have discussed in the earlier lecture. Crop rotation he introduced. Again, there are different terms which you have to understand from exam perspective. One is called mixed farming. UPSC has already asked PYQ on these. We have already done the mnemonic for Rabi crop and Kharif crops in the previous lecture. You can revise it. Mixed farming and mixed cropping. What is the difference between these two terms? You can post it in the comment section. If you know it, you can post it. Mixed farming, mixed cropping. Whenever you see crop rotation, pay attention to these words. They are not one and the same. They are different and you have to understand the difference, right? So, Takkavi loan, Sondhar loan, Diwane-Kohi, this scheme will also fail. And that's what they are saying. The corruption of the officer, inferior quality of land chosen for farming and lack of interest of cultivators, all these things will lead to failure of this Takkavi or Sondhar loan. Nevertheless, again, the scheme cannot be called as failure. Later on, other rulers will be implementing it. So, this guy, was he unlucky? We can always debate on this. End of MBT. So, what we have discussed earlier up until now what we have discussed, that during his period, expansion happened and it reached far south. But because of that, many people did not like what was going on there. And who were these guys who were not liking what was going on there? Vijayanagar Empire, 1336. Declared their independence, Harihar and Bukka, And then you have Bahmani Kingdom, 1347, Bahman Shah, who is also known as Hashan Gangu. He declared his independence. All these people earlier used to work under MBT. It was supposed to, means scholars say that. And then Ilyas Shahi dynasty in Bengal, they also declared their independence. So all these guys were not liking what they were saying. And that is what this guy is saying. So end of MBT. Lots of rebellions happened, Vijayanagar Empire, Bahmani Sultanate, again, he died in 1351 and you will see later on, we'll see a new dynasty in Gujarat also. All these things started during the later part of Muhammad bin Tughlaq and will reach its pinnacle. You will see a rise of provincial dynasties at the end of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. All these guys will become very, powerful. And we have to talk about these dynasties because most of the books, most of the faculties don't talk about them. We have to know about them somewhat. Like Mahmud Beghada. He is a ruler from Gujarat and he was known as Beghada because he captured so many garhs which are known as forts, Girnar, and we'll talk about Champaner. We have to know about these rulers, which dynasty they belong to. Then there is Sarki jo sar se wo dheere dheere. That means Sarki dynasty of Jaunpur, who also declared their independence during the later part of Firoz Shah Tughlaq or after the end of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So what happened? There is so much history here. You have to understand the relation. Why we are talking about Sayyid, why we are talking about Lodi, how the rise of Lodi is associated with Jaunpur. Everything is interlinked. So if you read them in silos, you won't understand. You have to connect the dots here. Fine, sir and ma'am. So these things we have discussed. This kid is cute. Look at his cheeks. I love these cheeks. Kids are cute. Fine, sir. So again, now Firoz Shah Tughlaq, he was a king. When we were talking about Pala Pratihara Rashtrakutas, so we have discussed about Pala, that after Shashank, nobody wanted to become the king during that period. Shashank, he ruled in Bengal, Gauda dynasty, and then people forced Gopala to become the king of a particular region and he found Pala dynasty. He was a king who became a king by accident. Same thing is said about Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He did not want to become the king, but nobles were like, dude, you have to become the king. What are you doing? We will support you. So now he will change his policy. Up until now, you have seen that Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, MBT, they were like, dude, we will not be blindsided by religion. We will respect, we will have a Catholic approach towards religion. But this guy is like, no, dude, I have to listen to ulemas, I have to listen to nobles. I have been made a king by them, so I have to abide by them. And he will do certain things. He will do good things also, but he is known more for his bad things and for his rigid approach. In fact, there was a one thing associated with him, that he is a very orthodox Muslim. But it's not like he has grudges against Hindus. He did not like even Shia Muslims. He did not like even Sufi saints and Sufi Muslims. He is only abiding by the core tenets of Sunni Islam. That is said about Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And he is considered one of the three bigots along with Sikandar Lodi and Aurangzeb. So you have to understand this. Ain't no choice, lol. Okay. So please pay attention to what we are discussing here. He linked state and religion, unlike Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq and MBT. And Iqta system. Iqta system introduced by which Delhi Sultanate ruler? You can post it in the comment section. In the previous lecture, we have talked about Iqtadari, Mansabdari, Zagirdari. We'll talk about Mansabdari, Zagirdari when Mughals come. We'll discuss them. Class 7, chapter 4, page 4. This we have discussed in the previous lecture. Fine. Sir, so Iqtadari was made hereditary. That means the nobles, the ulemas who were assigned these, mainly the nobles who were assigned these Iqtas, who were called as Iqtadars or Muktis, then their son will acquire the same Iqta. That was not happening earlier. Iqtas were mainly transferable. But during the period of FST, it was made non-transferable, and this part you have to keep in mind. Right? Iltutmish. Very good, yaar. Fine, sir. So again, jizya was imposed on non-Muslim. You can see here, he was the... Now, there are good things also. He made a lot of canals. He introduced something known as Diwane Khairat to take care of orphans and widows. Again, whenever you are seeing these Diwane, you have to remember certain things. Diwane R is Balban, Diwane Kohi, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Diwane Khairat, that is associated with Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So remember these Diwanes, they are actually important. Later on, we'll talk about some officers like Naib, and later on we'll also talk about Diwane Insha, which is for correspondence, Diwane Risalat, which is for religious affairs. So you have to remember these words. Iqtas are the province, then they will be divided into shiks. We'll talk about shiks, Dilbar, Shikdum. So that will help you in remembering these shiks and parganas. So we have to remember these classifications, these divisions, because UPSC asks questions. And any which way, I will help you remember them via some stupid nomenclature or stupid memes. Fine, sir. So Diwane Khairat he introduced. You can see canals. It is said that most of the cities which you are seeing in Haryana currently, most of these cities attribute their existence to Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He formed almost 300 cities, Hisar, etc. So many cities are attributed to him. Canal, irrigations, he paid a lot of attention to irrigation, etc. So these are some good things. Then there are certain weird things which he did. He brought Ashoka pillars from Topra and other places to his place. And that kind of thing he did. So again, we'll talk about all the good and bad things. He linked the state and religion, appeased ulemas, and we have discussed this. He is not only against Hindus, he is also against Shia Muslims and Sufis. And he is like, there is a saying about Firoz Shah Tughlaq that he awarded some cash prize to people who converted to Sunni Islam, Hindus, Shias, and as well as Sufis. So again, same thing is written here. You can have a look at it. And he is considered a bigot along with Sikandar Lodi and Aurangzeb. We'll talk about Sikandar Lodi, how he was a bigot. But again, we have to also take out the important things like Sikandar-e-Gaz, which is a measuring instrument that is attributed to Sikandar Lodi. We'll talk about Aurangzeb as well later on. Fine, sir. So again, what are the good things we are talking about here? He developed royal factories called Karkhanas, and these Karkhanas, you will hear about them a lot when we will talk about Mughal ruler Akbar. 300 new towns were built during his reign. Most of these towns are in the current Haryana state. And then Firoz Shah Kotla will be now known as Arun Jaitley Stadium. So all these things you are seeing. He included or listed accomplishment, again, converting Hindus to Sunni Islam. This is the key word here. Exemption from taxes and jizya for those who convert. We have discussed this. Have a look at this. Then there are some terms which we have to keep in mind, just like in the previous lecture, Jama and Hasil. So there will be two terms which you have to keep in mind. One is Jama, second is Hasil. How you can understand Jama and Hasil? So Jama and Hasil, like you are hearing about budget and economic surveys these days, right? So you have something called as in budget, what was the estimated revenue, and then there is something called as what is the realized revenue, So Jama, you can assume it as estimated revenue. What was the estimated revenue during the Delhi Sultanate period? And Hasil is what they actually realized, what they actually got. So sometimes government makes too much or ambitious goals, that this is how much we are expecting in taxes, and that is your jama, and then the actual tax which they are getting is hasil. So all these terms trace their origin to, most of these terms trace their origin to Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Remember these words, what is jama and what is hasil. Memorizing the nomenclature is a tough thing, don't worry about it. Just listen to it like a story, you will remember it. So Zama and Hasil, you don't have to forget it. Gardens he made, tanks he made, canals he made, cities he made. So those are some good things. And then these pillars, Ashokan pillars, he brought it from other places to his house. So again, he was a king, so he had these weird fantasies of his. Okay, sir. So canals, city, Hisar, again we have wells, dams, reservoirs, all these things. Diwane Khairat we have seen, he's taking care of orphans and widows. So because of this, all these measures, we are assuming that these are good measures and he's a good bhalo guy. But as we have discussed in the earlier lectures, these rulers are complex figures. You cannot tell them as good or bad. You have to take both their, points and you have to write them in exam as it is. You don't have to write your point of view, what you are thinking about that king. Just write as it is and have a balanced view. Never ever show your inclination to examiner which way you are tilting. Just be neutral. Fine, sir. So again, canals and all these things are written. Here again, there are terms. Darul Safa. It has nothing to do with wine. These are hospitals. So please remember, Jama, Hasil, Darul Safa, Diwane Kohi, Diwane Khairat. These are the terms which you have to remember. As Kajal is laughing, it is not wine. Fine. Cool. And pillars, this is important. It has been asked earlier in UPSC and other exams, like Firoz Shah Tughlaq brought two Ashokan pillars from Meerut and Topada. So this thing we have discussed when we were talking about Mauryan Empire. Anyway, this is a very famous map. You may have seen it so many times earlier. Major rock edict, minor rock edict, major pillar edict, minor pillar edict. So see here, to Delhi, Topada and this particular region. Meerut and Topada. So Meerut and Topada, these are not major rock edict, these are pillar edicts. So he was like, dude, I don't like it there. Bring it to my place. I want to see it from close. I want to admire its beauty from close, And that's why he did what he did. But many people feel like this is straightforward lunatic what he did. But we have nothing against Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He can do whatever he wants to do. Restored upper story of Qutub Minar. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. See, what we have discussed earlier, MBT during his last years, or not even during his last year, he ruled from 1325 to 1351. From 1336, we are seeing different dynasties are getting formed in south, some dynasties are getting formed in east also. So this is Sohaib Ilyasi. See, understand one thing, in our time, during when I was a kid, or I was you people's age, so we used to have one series which was known as India's Most Wanted. And this was the guy who used to presented one of the most famous shows ever, just like Shaktiman, India's Most Wanted. You can search it. His name was Sohaib Ilyasi. That's how you can remember Ilyas Shahi dynasty of Bengal. Sohaib Ilyasi, very famous guy. Sir, now I'm studying second year BTech. Can you please make video for how to balance college and UPSC, please, sir? I will do that. Shy. Don't worry too much about it. Currently, just listen to it like a story. So he used to help police catch criminals by making different episodes, and everybody used to watch it 9 p.m. Then he was accused of killing his wife and everything, and story took a downturn. So you can read about Sohaib Ilyasi. I think many of you may have heard about him. If you have heard about him, if you know about him, you can post it in the comment section. That's how we know him. Very, very famous figure in our times. Sohaib Ilyasi, Ilyas Shahi dynasty, which was formed in Bengal during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and it started getting more and more powerful during the period of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Many people, and you may realize this, that this particular dynasty, Ilyas Shahi dynasty, was operative from, let's say, 1342. And from 1342 till around 1538, for almost 200 years, this Ilyas Shahi dynasty ruled, there will be some period of gap or something, some other guys will be ruling, but more or less for almost 200 years they were ruling. And later on, Sher Shah Suri, he will capture back Bengal, and later on again Akbar has to capture back Bengal. Most of the people did not want to capture Bengal, and there are multiple reasons why they did not want to, interfere with the Ilyas Shahi dynasty and did not want to capture Bengal. First of all, it's very far from Delhi if you see Bengal. Plus, it has very hot and humid climate. And I have personally felt it. My sister is married in Bengal. I have been to we live in Newtown area of Bengal. So, it's so humid, bro. I go like this, my hair like this, and it starts going here, there and everywhere when I go there. And my sister is like, why your hair is so big, bro? So, yeah, I love that place. The food is very cheap. You can survive on 10,000, 15,000, but the climate is sometimes become very, very humid and you cannot bear it if you're not from there. So yes, sir. Have all PDFs uploaded, sir? Up until 10 lectures, we have uploaded you can watch it now, you can have a look at it, fine. So we are seeing the breakdown has already started by the end of MBT period, and it will reach its pinnacle by the end of Firoz Shah Tughlaq period, 1388. What will happen? He will die. He will not decide, or he will not delineate who will become the ruler after him, and one after the other, after around 1393-94, this particular dynasty will get divided into two parts, one part will be ruled by one king, other part will be ruled by another king. The Delhi Sultanate has become very weak, and taking advantage of all these scenarios, Timur will come in 1398 and he will attack, he will ransack, and he will ransack for 5 days. Nobody will stop him, and then he is like, I am not interested in ruling over you people, I just want to do the plundering part, so I am going back now. I will install a puppet ruler here whose name will be Khijr Khan, and he will rule. And Khijr Khan was so terrified of Timur that he formed Sayyid dynasty starting from 1414 AD, but he never said that he had formed a dynasty. He was terrified of Timur and his descendants. When his son came, then he will establish or say that he is the king and everything. He used to send tribute to Timur and his descendant, this Khijr Khan. We'll talk about him. And that's why you don't hear too much about Sayyids. Only thing, they are known as Kuladaran because they were associated with Prophet from the mother side. All these things are factual things which you know about Sayyids. But in general, we don't read about them that much compared to other rulers. Fine. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about provincial dynasties. And here, that is what is written here. That Bengal had already been lost after 2 failed exertion by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. It had been lost during the period of MBT only, Ilyas Shahi dynasty. Nobody has heard about Sohaib Ilyasi? Oh my God, I am the only one. So, how much FST is responsible for decline of Sultanate? It may remind you of Mauryan period when we were talking about how much Ashoka's pacifist policy was responsible for decline of Mauryan empire. So again, the same Bol Bachchan, same stuff you will write here, that the successors were weak, and religious intolerance he was. This is not the case with Ashoka. Ashoka's major thing is that he started following Dhamma Gosha rather than Beri Gosha. Victory by Dhamma rather than victory by war. Similar kind of things you will be writing, and these things will be similar. Even I will tell you where you will write these kind of things and where you have to understand these kind of things can be asked in prelims also. They will give you these points. Even when we'll talk about Aurangzeb. After the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal empire declined to a certain extent because, again, weak successor. So these weak successor points you can use anywhere and everywhere. This is a foolproof point. Not okay. Yes, sir. So again, succession. In succession, we talk about two terms, primogeniture and copercinary inheritance. Primogeniture and copercinary inheritance. So please pay attention to these words. We have already discussed these two words, and you should know these two words. So what is primogeniture? Your eldest son will become the ruler. Copercinary inheritance, you are dividing your property among your different sons, whoever is there, right? So here he did not decide, or he did not say what he wanted, whether he wanted primogeniture or copercinary inheritance, because of which so many fights happened. See, understand one thing. When we are talking about Delhi Sultanate, so started with slave dynasty, they have around 11 rulers. Then we talked about Khalji dynasty, 4 rulers. When we talk about Tughlaq dynasty, we have around 8 or 9 rulers. There is a debate on 8 or 9. We'll talk about that just few moments from now. So because of all these reasons, Delhi means Tughlaq dynasty will decline. Religious intolerance, ulema's influence, you made Iqta hereditary, system of decentralization, ideas of giving, all these factors will play a crucial role in the decline of Tughlaq dynasty. And again, see, Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi, it is named after Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi has, most people know, it is, or they associate it with Barni. Barni wrote Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi and Fatwa-e-Jahandari. Please remember, there was another guy whose name is Afif. How will you remember Afif? There was a famous singer in our time whose name was Himesh Reshammiya. He's making Ravi Kumar or something movies these days. I don't know why. He should stick to singing. So, Afif Banaya Aapne. There was a song in our time, Afif Banaya. So, why that particular song? You can remember this guy's name. Afif Banaya Aapne. That means you made us Afif. So, Afif also wrote Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi, just like Barni wrote Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi. So, sometimes they will give you Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi and they will say Afif. You will like, no Afif. It is Barni. No, even Afif wrote. Fine. So, again, total rulers 8 or 9. Why it is said? Because, see here. Nasiruddin Mahmud Shah Tughlaq, he is considered the last ruler who ruled from 1394 to 1413. But during that period, there was another guy called Nusrat Shah who was ruling over certain portion of Delhi Sultanate. So, if you include only Nasiruddin Mahmud, then there are 8 rulers. If you also include Nusrat Shah, then there are 9 rulers. And that's why there is a debate here. Fine. UPSC is not going to ask you 8 or 9. There is a fixed consensus around 11 rulers in, slave dynasty Mamluk, 4 in Khalji, 8 or 9 in Tughlaq. So remember the approximate they can give you, there were 16 rulers. So that is obviously wrong, right? Fine, sir. Now let's solve some questions. We have studied a lot. We have studied a lot of theories. We have done 2 questions. We still have to solve 8 more questions. This is third question. Consider the following statements. There are 4 statements which are given here based on Jainism. And again, you can go back and revise Jainism if you're getting this question wrong. First statement is Jaina doctrines are believed to be much older than Buddhism. Second statement is Jainism is fundamentally theistic and places God at a higher level than Jaina. Third statement is Jaina conception of time is based on endless sequences of progressive and regressive half cycle. Fourth statement is the principle of Anekantavad forms one of the core tenets of Jainism. How many of the statements given above are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C3 only, or D all 4? What do you want to say about it? Again, a tough question. So tougher you solve here, easier you will find questions in exam hall, right? So B, Kajal has given the answer. Jaina doctrines are believed to be much older than Buddhism. That is actually correct because Mahavira and Buddha, they are considered to be contemporary. Harish has also given the answer as B, contemporary, and Mahavira is the 24th Tirthankar. Before him, 23 Tirthankars came, right? So first statement is correct. Jainism is fundamentally theistic. No, it is not theistic. It is atheistic. And it places God below Jaina. This also we have discussed when we were talking about Jainism. So second statement is wrong. Jaina conception of time is based on endless sequences of progressive and regressive half cycle. That's also we have discussed. They talk about Utsarpanis and Avsarpanis, that there will be good times and there will be bad times. So there will be a progressive and regressive half cycle. This is correct. And principle of Anekantavad, we know. Anekantavad, Shadvad, theory of multiple realities, theory of maybe. You can be correct, I can be correct, We are touching different parts of elephant. We will describe elephant in different ways, but we are actually talking about elephant only. So fourth statement is also correct. 3 statements are correct. 1 is wrong. So the answer is C3 only. See, none of the answers you people have given in the chat section is correct. That means you people have to work a lot harder and revise Jainism. Go and revise Jainism. This is one of the slides I have taken from that Jainism lecture. Jaina conception of time is based on endless sequences of progressive, that is Utsarpanis, and regressive half cycle, that is Avsarpanis. There also we have talked about that Jainism is fundamentally atheistic. They don't talk about God that much. And later on, too many questions when they were posed on Jainism about God, they placed God lower than Jaina. Just now purchased PDF course, sir. Yes. Okay. Next question, fourth question. Consider the following statement regarding Udaygiri and Khandagiri caves of Odisha. This is related to Buddhist and Jaina architecture, which we have done after temple architecture. First of all, please try to solve this particular question. The terms basically, exactly. First of all, let's try to solve this question. If you are not able to solve this question, go back to Buddhist and Jaina architecture. Udaygiri and Khandagiri cave of Odisha. First statement, the caves are situated on Kumari Parvat as mentioned in Hathi Gumfa inscription. Second statement, all the caves in this complex are artificial. Third statement, the upper chambers of many double-storied caves were utilized for deep meditation. Fourth statement, Buddhism is predominantly associated with these caves. Fifth statement, a water source in the form of a small canal passes through some caves. Which of the statement given above are correct? A 1, 2, 3, B 1, 3, 5, C 1, 3, 4, 5, D 2, 3, 4, 5. And yes, sir, I will keep on saying this, that you have to post your marks in the comment section. Out of 10, how many you are getting correct? I know the performance is not that good these days because the questions are tougher, but that will be the case in exam also. So you have to prepare and you have to post your marks sooner rather than later in the comment section. I will keep on saying that. So yes, sir, what is the answer of this question? Dark has given the answer. So see here, let's eliminate. Let's do option elimination, option elimination. Many people will leave this question. Why they will leave this question? Because you have 5 options. And they will be like, oh my God, 5 options. I will kill myself rather than solving this question. No, don't kill yourself for so trivial reasons. Buddhism is not predominantly associated with these caves. It is associated with Jainism. Khada Vela gave patronage to Jainism, who is majorly associated with giving patronage to Udaygiri and Khandagiri caves. So Buddhism is not the predominant religion in Udaygiri, Khandagiri, Jainism is. So let's eliminate 4. If you eliminate 4, you are left with C and D. Go to Buddhist and Jaina architecture, revise this again. So you are left with A and B, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 5. That means you don't have to check even 1. Even if you have no knowledge about 1, let's leave it. Now, we are only concerned with either like 2 is correct or not. All the caves, see here extreme word. All the caves in this complex are artificial. Whenever all these words come, you may have heard it later, means earlier also, that these are extreme words. When these come, all etc., then they are mostly wrong. And yes, they are wrong in this scenario as well. This particular statement is wrong. All of them were not artificial. Some were artificial, some were man-made. So second is wrong. So the answer is B, 1, 3, 5, as was stated first by Dark. Dark is awesome. He's such a dark guy in a good way. So Dark, Bulbul, Dipakshi, Shesh, Shiv, Kritika, Harish, Sundaram, Kajal. Please, sir, revise this Buddhist and Jaina architecture, and B is the answer. Cool. So now and this is your Udaygiri and Khandagiri caves, and this is your Hathi Gumfa inscription associated with Khadavela. Jainism is the predominant religion. Please go back and revise Buddhist and Jaina architecture. Also revise Jainism. Now let's come back to our Delhi Sultanate. So what we are talking about? We are talking about Tughlaq dynasty. Now we have to talk about Sayyid and Lodi. So Mamluk done, Khalji done. It is also known as Khilji or Khalji. They are same, not different. Tughlaq done, and there is one dynasty which is not here, which we have to talk about. That is Sayyid, and then we'll talk about Lodi. And that's why we have seen this meme earlier, that Sayyids were not represented in that map, and they are very sad about it. And they are saying that this is not done, this is not fair. So Sayyid. Before we talk about Sayyid, we have to talk about Timur. Timur invasion, 1398. And Timur came from a place known as Samarkand. Anybody has any idea where is Samarkand? Kuthai located hoita asa, that means where is Samarkand located? Samarkand is located in a Central Asian country, and these are places are important actually, because Timur, is very infamous. Sayyid be like Gazab Bejati, exactly Kritika. So Samarkand is there in the Central Asian country of Uzbekistan. See, please understand this. I have told this thing multiple times earlier, that there are only 5 Central Asian countries. Iran and Afghanistan are not Central Asian country. Don't confuse them. The Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, all these, Tajikistan, there are 5 countries which are Central Asian countries. You have to remember all those 5 countries, their capital, arrange them from north to south, east to west. Here history and geography are merging. Very good. So as A is saying, it is Uzbekistan, Samarkand, Timur. Later on when we will talk about Babur, so we will see that he came from a place known as Fargana. Where is Fargana? Fargana is also in Uzbekistan. Now these places, you don't have to remember all places, but these places are important. Samarkand, Uzbekistan, Fargana, Uzbekistan. Now the question is how we will remember these places, Samarkand and Uzbekistan. So if you have to remember Samarkand is there in Uzbekistan, just remember Susu. Like this is a kid and kids do a lot of Susu. So Susu, Samarkand, Uzbekistan. If you have to remember Fargana is in Uzbekistan, just remember Fufu. When I used to watch movies in theaters, these days I have stopped watching all these things. I have to watch, but I read a book. I have told you people earlier, Atomic Habits. After that, I don't watch these things. I generally read books. I'm currently reading Murder Mindfully. There's a Netflix series on this. Don't watch series, read books. So Fufu. So when you go for movies, you will see this ad. There used to be this ad, always comes that, oh Ramu, why are you drinking, smoking cigarette? This is Fufu. So Fufu, Fargana, Uzbekistan. That's how you can remember stuff. Samarkand, Uzbekistan, Susu and Fufu. Hope you understood it. Hope you will remember it. Cool. So both of them are in Uzbekistan. So Sayyid, 1414 to 1451 CE. It is said that they are associated with Prophet Muhammad from mother side, and they wear that kind of a means what is a cap, which is Kulah Daran. So that's why they're known as Kulah Daran. We'll talk about that later on also. First of all, let's talk about something very important. So what we are discussing, 1398 Timur ransacked our country and for 4-5 days, and he was not in a mood to rule over us. So what he did was, there was a governor of Multan, which is debatable how much, like whether he was actually a governor of Multan or not. There are questions over it, but nobody is denying the fact that Khizr Khan was earlier associated with Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He used to work under him, and later on what happened, he also got in contact with Timur, and Timur was like, dude, become the ruler. You have my, I'm giving you all the, nobody will do anything with you, just, pay homage to me and rule on my behalf. So Khizr Khan was like, okay, I will rule on your behalf. But what he did actually was he established the Sayyid dynasty. But he never said to Timur or his descendant, as we have discussed earlier. He was too terrified because at that time, as we say in Hindi, dar ka mahal tha. People were terrified of Timur and his descendant. So he started Sayyid dynasty 1414 AD, but the situation will be very tense. As you can see here, there is a, fear which is prevailing, especially from 1414 to 1421 AD, and you can see how fearful Khizr Khan is. Here you can assume Shah Rukh Khan as Khizr Khan. He is crying here. Then what will happen? After Khizr Khan, his son will come, Mubarak Shah. Now this guy is like, dude, Papa, why are you so afraid? Timur is gone, bro. So now let's chill pill, bro, means Papa. And he was like, no, I will take the title of king and I will rule. During this period, what also started happening was, in the Jaunpur region of UP, in around 1390s, at the end of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, means there was a kingdom which got established, which was known as Sarki Kingdom. And we have already discussed how you will remember this Sarki Kingdom by a stupid song which is known as Sarki Jo Sar Se Wo Dheere Dheere. This is so stupid. So the point here is we have to remember these kingdoms. You will not remember these kingdoms if I don't give you these stupid memes. So Sarki Jo Sar Se Wo Dheere Dheere, that is the dynasty, Sarki dynasty. It got established around 1390s, and you can again see the chronology. 1388, FST died, and in UP you have a Sarki dynasty who were, whose capital was Jaunpur, and they made Jaunpur so beautiful, and their architecture is also unique, and that's why Jaunpur is known as Shiraz of the East. Shiraz is a town in Iran which is very, very beautiful, and just like Shiraz of Iran, they, made beautiful architectures in Jaunpur, and Jaunpur at one point of time became a place where most of the people of Islamic religion, they used to go there, and not only Islam, even other religious elements you find of other religion in Jaunpur. So do visit Jaunpur of UP if you ever get a chance. So Mubarak be like, main hoon na. Exactly. So let's focus here, bros. So Mubarak Shah, he is like, dude, I'm not afraid of anybody, and I will establish and I will say that I'm ruling on behalf of Sayyids. Fine. And here at this time something will change. Sarkis, they are ruling in Jaunpur, UP, and Delhi Sultanate is shrinking to a certain extent. Why? Because in south you are seeing Vijayanagar Bahmanis there. In Bengal you are seeing Ilyas Sai dynasty of Sohaib Ilyasi. No, Sohaib Ilyasi is not there. Ilyas Sai dynasty is ruling rather. In Gujarat you will see other dynasty which will come, and they will be independent, Gujarat Malwa region. So all in all, during the period of Sayyids, Delhi Sultanate has shrunk a lot. And again, there is a matter of prestige here. So Delhi Sultanate ruler like Mubarak Shah, he is like, dude, we have to do something. Especially we have to do something of the Sarki ruler, because they are very close to us, very close to Delhi, and they are ruling so independently. So then he started calling Afghan people. Because as you already know, what is with these Afghanis? Afghanistan is also known as graveyard of empires. America came, means earlier USSR came, were not able to capture it. America came, they also went back. So Afghani people, there is a saying that these people are very brave. So what this guy did, what this Mubarak Shah did, he started calling Afghani people like Behlol Khan Lodi, that you come to India, you help us deal with these Sarkis of Jaunpur, and we'll give you whatever you want to have, right? So now what will happen is, although Sayyids are ruling after, Khizr Khan, Mubarak Shah will come, but the administration is dominated by this guy who started from a very lower ladder and went up the ladder. This particular guy called Behlol Khan Lodi. And now you know why these Lodis are here. They have to help Sayyids to get rid of Sarkis in Jaunpur. Yeah, weak ruler, as Bulbul is saying. So again, Alam Shah will come after this, and again Muhammad Shah, Alam Shah. Alam Shah is very religious by nature. There are only 4 rulers in Sayyids, and we have to understand who they were. Alam Shah was the last ruler, and he told Behlol Khan Lodi that, bro, you rule, I am going to Jaunpur, and I will live there, and I will stay, he retired to Badaयूं rather, and I will stay there, I will do my religious thing. Generally what happens when these kind of things happen, Behlol Khan Lodi would have ideally killed Alam Shah. If you see history, if you learn anything from history, whenever these kind of things happen, that Alam Shah want to go somewhere else and Behlol Khan Lodi want to become a king, then he will kill Alam Shah. But that did not happen here. It is said that Alam Shah lived a very long and fruitful life in Badaयूं, and Behlol Khan Lodi did not kill him. He started his own Lodi dynasty from 1451. So this is also very interesting phenomena which you have to keep in mind. Fine. So again here, why we are keeping this particular meme? Because Alam Shah was something like this. He believed that everything is Moh Maya and we have to get rid of this Moh Maya. So I'm going to Badaयूं, I will live there and I will, do my religious stuff. And then Lodi dynasty got established. Now here also there is a very interesting chronology. So Mubarak Shah and all these guys, Sayyids, they will call Lodi to get rid of means Sarkis of Jaunpur. Later on, when Lodis will realize that, oh my god, Sarkis are actually a very formidable lot, a very formidable ruler in Jaunpur. So they started calling someone known as Rohs. Who are like Rohs. They are again Afghani people who are living in the Roh region of Afghanistan. So they will settle in means UP, and the region in which they will settle, that will be known as Rohilkhand. So you may have heard about this Rohilkhand region of UP, and that's why UP is so diverse. It's not like a homogeneous entity UP. So you have Rohilkhand, you have Bundelkhand, you have Bagelkhand. We have talked about Jejaka Bhukti region earlier. You can see how much diversity UP has. Rohilkhand people, Afghani people, they settled in this UP region and they made this Rohilkhand region. Fine. All these things are happening. Afghani people are now entering into our territory in larger numbers. So before we talk about Lodi dynasty and what they are doing, etc., let's talk about these provincial dynasties a bit. So what we have discussed, that Vijayanagar, Bahmani, we'll talk about them later in detail. They are getting established during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. During that period only Bengal will become independent. During the end part of FST, Jaunpur, Sarki dynasty will be established. Gujarat and Malwa, they will also declare their independence, because everybody is realizing that Delhi Sultanate is becoming weaker after the end of Tughlaq period and during the Sayyid period, you know. So all these things are happening. These small principalities are getting formed. Fine. And again here all the things are written that in the west you have Gujarat and Malwa, and many people wanted to control this region because you have many port towns here. And in the east you have Bengal, Ilyas Shahi dynasty. In Odisha you have something known as Gajapati rulers. We'll talk about Gajapati, Ashupati, Narpati when we will talk about Vijayanagar and Bahmani also. Gajapati rulers later on, they also, you know, fought battles with Vijayanagar and Bahmanis. In the north, in Kashmir, there was a guy who was ruling around 1420 to 1470. He was called Buddha Shah, who is also known as Jainul Abidin. So you are seeing so many, you know, scattered dynasties which are flourishing. You have to know these names. These names are actually important. Fine. And then there will be a final defeat of Jaunpur by the Lodis. If you talk about these kingdoms, provincial dynasties rather, and you talk about which one was the most formidable, so many people believe that the Sarki dynasty of Jaunpur was the most formidable. Now here there are questions related to Sarki dynasty. When did it end particularly? Did it end during the period of Behlol Lodi, or it end during the period of, you know, Sikandar Lodi? This we will talk about. When we will talk about Lodis, you have to remember a mnemonic. Many people told me that, sir, when we talk about Lodi rulers, let's just remember BIS, Bureau of Indian Standard, and that will help us remember the rulers of Lodi. This will not work because this is not the chronology of Lodi dynasty. The chronology is BSI, you know. You have Behlol Lodi, then you have Sikandar Lodi, and then you have Ibrahim Lodi. So you can remember BIS or you can change it and you can remember BSI. We'll talk about them later on. First of all, let's talk about some of these provincial dynasty. So Bengal, Ilyas Shahi dynasty, and they are ruling from around 1342 till 1538 with little breaks in between. Ilyas Khan is the founder, Ilyas Shahi dynasty. And here there are reasons why Bengal used to get, you know, independence so frequently. Even when we will talk about later Mughal rulers, you will see that here later on you will have different dynasties, different people will be ruling, Sirajud-Dawla and before that Murshid Quli Khan, etc. So why they used to get so much independence and why Delhi was not able to control it? These are the major points which can be asked in pre as well as mains, and you have to keep them in mind. Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE, but it is BSE, it is not BSI, Harish. Right? So distance, they are little far from Delhi. Pay attention to the map. Map will help you in understanding a lot of stuff. Then difficulty of communication and by land or water. Hot and humid climate. This I have already told you. I have been to, like, you know, I have home in Kolkata now, Newtown area rather. So that is not exactly Kolkata, but hope you are understanding. So I have been there and I know how hot and humid Kolkata is. In fact, there is a book also which I was listening. It is an audio book. The heat will kill you first. And they say that global warming is for real, even though Trump did not believe it, but this is actually real. And then they have given so much findings that how the global warming or the heat phenomena is leading to something, you know, creating inequality to a greater extent. Poors will be getting impacted by this heat much more than the rich people. We have ACs, we can stay in studios and whatever, you know, but the poor will be dying in masses according to this particular book. You can listen to this audio book. This will give you so much perspective, and here history and environment are merging to a certain extent. Provincial dynasty means dynasties of different provinces or different regions, small localized dynasty A, right? Okay, sir. So here we are talking about Ilyas Shahi dynasty. Remember the names. You should know about these dynasties. Most of the people will not talk about these provincial dynasties. So again, here we are talking about Ilyas Shah, means Sohaib Ilyasi, Ilyas Shahi dynasty. 1342 and see, up until 1538, they will rule some way or the other. In 1538, Sher Shah Suri, because that was a period, 1530, if we talk about Humayun, he ruled from 1530 to 40 and 1555 to 1556. So almost 1540 to 1555 was Sur Empire. But around 1538 only, you will see Sher Shah Suri will become very powerful and he will capture this particular Bengal region, and later on Akbar will capture it. So almost for 200 years they will be more or less independent, and that shows the weakness of Delhi Sultanate also. Rest all you don't have to pay too much attention. Just remember that there was an Ilyas Shahi dynasty. In Gujarat also a new dynasty will emerge, and this particular dynasty will shift their capital from Patan to Ahmedabad. Patan was the capital, erstwhile capital of Solankis, who were also known as Chaulukyas. So that's why they are important. There are so many port towns also here. And then there is another king, very important king associated with Gujarat, who is known as Mahmud Beghada. They can ask you that Mahmud Beghada was a provincial ruler or a ruler of which particular region, in Gujarat, Bengal, etc. So you should at least know that Mahmud Beghada was from Gujarat, was a ruler from Gujarat, and he was ruling this during this particular period, right? And there are people who used to say that he used to sleep for 24 hours or he used to eat for 24 hours, whatever, and then he captured different gards or forts, and that's why he's known as Mahmud Beghada. Kolkata's climate has changed drastically in the last 3 years, worsening day by day. I can understand, Kritika. So yes, sir. Timur invasion provided opportunity to all these dynasties, and we are seeing what is happening in different areas. And again, you don't have to pay attention to who was Zafar Khan, blah, blah, blah. Just remember, during this period when the turmoil is going on, the period when Tughlaq ended and Sayyids are ruling actually, these dynasties will become independent and they will shift their capital from Patan to Ahmedabad. Patan was earlier known as Ahnilwada. Again, go back and revise the Rajput lecture where we have talked about Chaulukyas or Solankis. Here you will just understand the chronology that now the center of attraction of Gujarat has changed from Patan to Ahmedabad. That's it. You don't have to do PhD here. I just gave these points or included these slides so that you don't feel anything is left out. Then Mahmud Beghada belonged to this Gujarat dynasty, and he is called Beghada. It's not like he is Beghar or he does not have any ghar. Gad means fort in English. So he captured forts like Girnar and Champaner. Girnar is anyway very famous because you have read about Girnar inscription a lot. Girnar or Junagadh inscription. So you have to remember these. And it is said that he used to eat 24 hours. He was not eating from our money. So he can eat for 48 hours if there is a day which has 48 hours. We don't care. We shouldn't be interfering in other people's life. This is his personal matter and we are nobody to comment on this. Only these kind of interesting facts help us in remembering these kind of rulers in a much better manner, because there are so many provincial dynasties, there are so many rulers. When you have interesting anecdotes about them, you can remember them in a much better manner. Fine. So again, we have done enough theory. Let's solve some practice questions so that you can remember them in much better manner. So this is question number 5 of the day. We still have 5 more questions after this. And the question is, in 375 AD, how many of the following dynasties were contemporaries of Guptas? First is Vakatakas, second is Kadambas, third is Western Gangas, and fourth is Pallavas. So Vakatakas, Kadambas, Western Gangas, Pallavas. Select the correct answer from the options given below. A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, 3 only, D, all 4. So how many of them are contemporaries? Vakatakas, Kadambas, Western Gangas, Pallavas. A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, 3 only, D, all 4. I have not got any answer up until now. So A, you are saying for this question, B. Okay. Any other answer? I've got only one answer. Bulbul is also saying B. Fine. So Vakatakas, they were contemporary of Guptas. It's a no-brainer, right? Pallavas, we have seen they were contemporary of Guptas because again, if you go back to Gupta lecture, we have talked there was a Pallava king Vishnu Gopa whom Samudragupta defeated and forced him to accept his suzerainty. So these two has to be there. Kadambas and Western Gangas were also ruling when Guptas were there. All four are correct, and for that you have to look at this map which I have shown you I think 3,000 or 4,000 times during Gupta period, Vardhana period, and see. So Guptas are ruling, Vakatakas are here, Pallavas we have seen. See here Kadambas and Western Ganga dynasty. So Kadambas is a local dynasty as you can see here, and their founder was someone known as Mayur Sharma or Mayur Sharman, and they got founded around 375 AD, approximately around this period. And then Western Gangas, they got established around 340-350 AD, and their ruler was known as Madhava. The founder was known as Madhava. So Mayur Sharma, Madhava. So again, these rulers, how you can remember? Rohit Sharma, Sharma sir, and this is Mayur. That is, you know, peacock or more. So that's how you can remember Kadambas. Mayur Sharma. Mayur, peacock, Rohit Sharma sir, and his cute pig. Fine. So Mayur Sharma, Kadambas. And then Western Gangas, Madhava. So there is a very famous ruler, means actor, who is known as Madhavan. So Madhava. So that's how you will be able to remember them. I did not get any answer correct. You people have to go and look at these maps, revise Gupta period and pay attention to the map. It's not like whatever I have told you, you will only look at that. When you are looking at map, look at it like you have never looked at anybody ever before. Just, it means, you know, immerse yourself and have a look at that image again and again and again. Madhavan is looking awesome in this pic. Let's focus on the 6th question, bro. Consider the following statements about Allahabad pillar inscription. 4 statements. First statement, it is engraved on an Ashokan pillar in Pali. Second statement, it was composed by Kalidas. Third statement, it provides an account of Samudragupta's Dakshin Path expedition. How many of the statements given above are incorrect? A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, all 3, and D, none. Just like lover's pic, sir, more than the lover's pic, bro. You don't have to look at the lover's pic. You can always meet him or her. If you're not able to meet him or her, you are not at all a lover anymore. Or maybe you are having a long distance relationship. But again, we'll not talk about that. We will focus on question number 6. Consider the following statement about Allahabad pillar inscription. I have got an answer from Deepakshi. So it is engraved on an Ashokan pillar in Pali. It is not in Pali, it is in Sanskrit. So first statement is wrong. It was not composed by Kalidas, you know. Who composed it? Who was the court poet? Was it Hari Sen or somebody else? So second is wrong. It provides an account of Samudragupta's Dakshin Path expedition. We have talked about Samudragupta's different stages of annexation. You can go to Guptas and you can revise that lecture. So third is correct. Here again the trick is they are asking incorrect. They are not asking incorrect. Rather they are asking incorrect. So the answer is 2 only. Third is correct. B, 2 only. How many of you gave the correct answer? Oh my God. It's very less. Kritika, Kajal, Deepakshi. Oh, Deepakshi. Cool. So again, tough question. No doubt about it. But you have to revise these questions. Samudragupta. Allahabad pillar inscription. Written in pure Sanskrit. And these are the points which you have to keep in mind. And according to Hari Sen, he was awesome. And Samudragupta used to say that when I am sad, I stop being sad and I be awesome instead. And that is the same statement which Barney Stinson says in his How I Met Your Mother. I hope you people know him. He is awesome. So let's focus on Lodis now. We have solved 6 questions up until now. Sir, do we need to learn all inscription? Bro, Allahabad pillar inscription is the mother of all inscription. Hari Sen, exactly. You cannot forget Allahabad pillar inscription. That is like most repeated question. Like so many questions are asked on Allahabad pillar. UPSC love Allahabad pillar. So Lodi is 1451 to 1526, you know. And here we have just discussed the chronology, BSI. Behlol Lodi, Sikandar Lodi, Ibrahim Lodi. Behlol Lodi 1451 to 14 means 89 if I am not wrong. And then Sikandar Lodi 1489 to 1517. Ibrahim Lodi 1517 to 1526. These are the years, but more than the years you have to understand the chronology. What has happened? Why has Behlol Lodi come? Because Sayyids have invited him to keep a tab on the Sarki ruler of Jaunpur. So during the period of Behlols, they will capture, kingdom to a great extent. Some people believe that Jaunpur was annexed to or made a part of Delhi Sultanate during Behlol period. Some people believe that during the initial year of Sikandar Lodi, the Sarki dynasty was captured. So again, there are different data, different information. We will talk about that later on also. So Behlol Lodi, he consolidated Delhi Sultanate. He made certain portions which were earlier becoming a provincial dynasty, a part of Delhi Sultanate. And then the most important ruler is Sikandar Lodi. Although he was a bigot means he was very orthodox, very orthodox. The problem is not that you are orthodox. You can be anything in your personal life. But when you start imposing your religion onto your subject, then it becomes a matter of contention. The same thing which has happened with Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Similar kind of things you will see with Sikandar Lodi. Similar kind of things you will see later on with Aurangzeb. So Sikandar Lodi. And then what happened? Very important thing which you have to keep in mind. During all this period, the capital is Delhi. Sikandar will shift capital from Delhi to Agra. This is the point which is important. They can ask you, which of the following Delhi Sultanate ruler shifted capital from Delhi to Agra? So the answer is Sikandar Lodi. He is a bigot. That is the negative thing. Then there are positive things also. He captured Jaunpur, made it a part of Delhi Sultanate, consolidated Delhi Sultanate. What else? He introduced something known as Gaje Sikandari. Gaje Sikandari, which is a measurement instrument, land measurement, and this was continued. This Gaje Sikandari was later on used by Sayyid Shah Suri, later on used by Akbar, Mughals. So again, this land measurement unit continued. And then when we talk about Ibrahim Lodi, people used to hate him a lot. If you watch Bharat Ek Khoj, bigot means sir, also built Sikandarabad, very good Kajal. What is the sequence of your class, either MCQ or theory? I'm new here. So again, you can watch the orientation Dipakshi. This is a prelims crash course. So where we are, continuing with the ancient period, and whatever we have studied in the previous lectures, we are including it in MCQ so that you can revise it and you don't forget the older stuff. Because the more you read, what happens is, if you don't revise, you just forget everything. I give homework, but most of the students, they don't do homework. So I ensure that you do your homework when we do MCQs. Fine. You can watch the orientation session of our this free prelims crash course also, Dipakshi. So yes sir, BSI Delhi to Agra, Ibrahim Lodi, people did not like him that much. People were terrified of him. So terrified were his relatives that later on they will call Babar, and Babar will be like, let's fight a battle bro at Panipat, which we'll call as first battle of Panipat, 1526. And then Ibrahim Lodi will be killed. Babar was like, although people were terrified of Ibrahim Lodi, but he was a fighter. Just like Hrithik Roshan was a fighter in Fighter, which you people did not watch, me neither. But he was so impressed by the, fighting spirit of Ibrahim Lodi that he built a tomb there only in Panipat of Ibrahim Lodi. So here, there is a question which you have to keep in mind. Where is the tomb of Ibrahim Lodi? In Panipat only. Who built it? Babar built it because he was very, very impressed by his valor and, bravery. And where do we find this mentioned? We find it in Babar's, autobiography, Babar Nama, which is also known as Tuzuke Babari. So these points you have to keep it in mind. Fine, sir, let's talk about them now. So Lodis, 1451 to 1526, all of these during this period from 1390s onward, everybody is terrified of Sarkis, Sarki ruler of Jaunpur. So again, they were called to tackle these Sarkis, these Behlol Lodi, and that is what is written here. And have a look at this. During this period, there are regional kingdoms. The major one is Jaunpur Sarki dynasty. Lodis were Afghan. So again, if we trace the chronology here, so slave, Mamluk, Turkish origin. Then when we were talking about Khaljis, they were Turco-Afghan, and that's why we talked about something known as Khalji revolution in the previous lecture. And then when we were talking about Tughlaqs, they were Turco, Indians, or because their mother belonged to the Hindu origin. So please keep it in mind. Sayyids here only, and then Lodis are Afghanis. Sayyids were Turkish and Lodis were Afghani. So these points you have to understand. They are the only Afghani dynasty. Up until now, every other dynasty of Delhi Sultanate had Turkish origin to a certain extent. Turco-Afghan, Turco-Indian doesn't matter. They have Turkish origin. They are completely Afghani. So this point you have to understand. Sir, some clap sound is continuously hearing, sir. Clap sound? Where is clap sound? Anybody else can hear the clap sound? Fine. So Behlol spent again fighting against the Sarki dynasty. Sarki jo, sar se wo dheere dheere Sarki dynasty of Jaunpur. And have a look at this. We have talked about all these points, bro. I've already told you all these things. That Sayyid, they called Behlol Lodi to tackle, and other Afghanis to tackle Sarkis. Later on, when Behlol Lodi realized that I have to call some more Afghanis, so he called people from Ro, which is a region in Afghanistan. These people settled in UP, established a region called Rohilkhand, and all these things are written here. Jittering. Okay. Am I audible now? Let me see. Okay. Fine. Hope I'm audible. Maybe there is some issues, but I think it's not that big of an issue. Fine. So let's continue. Same thing is written here. You can have a look at it. Now let's talk about the Sarkis. Here there is a question mark. Many people believe that before 1493 only they were captured by the Delhi Sultanate, the Lodis, right? So Sarkis ruled for almost 100 years, Jaunpur region. And why we have included another Game of Thrones picture here? Because if you see this guy, he was a eunuch. This is the word which we use. See the spelling. Who are eunuch or eunuch? Those are those guys whose male reproductive organs are castrated or cut. So these kind of people are called eunuchs. So this Malik Sarwar, he is also known as eunuch or eunuch, whatever you pronounce it. And generally, why we have eunuch? Why in Mughal period you will see a lot of eunuch or eunuch? Why? Because they have so many places, like there were certain places in Mughal period where women used to live. And they were surrounded by male guards. So to protect, yes, like Malik Kafur, so to protect the woman, they used to cut the male's reproductive organs, genitalia, etc. And they were called as eunuch. So Malik Sarwar was also one such eunuch, which you have to remember. That way you will remember him better. And he was a noble of the time of Firoz Tughlaq. And all those people, seeing the decline of Tughlaq dynasty, they became independent. Sarki was no exception. And again, you can trace the data here. 1388, Firoz Shah's reign ended. After 6 years, Sarki dynasty was established by Malik Sarwar, who was a noble of Firoz Tughlaq. Fine. Sarkis, Jaunpur, Shiraz of the East, and it's not like they copied other architecture. It's very unique architecture, and it became a very famous, place with so many things, architectural marvel attached to it. And that is what is written here. And it became very popular and powerful during that particular period as well. Shiraz of the East, please remember, they can ask you which particular city is known as Shiraz of the East. That is Jaunpur. Where is Shiraz? It is in Iran. Just like you hear about Ramsar sites. Post in the comment section how many Ramsar sites are there in India. So Ramsar sites, environment and history are merging here. So Ramsar is also in Iran. Similarly, Shiraz is there in Iran. So you have to remember these. Bulbul is saying check mic. Am I audible? Fine. So here we are just writing certain facts about it. 1484. See, we have seen in the previous slide 1493 around this particular Sarki dynasty or Jaunpur kingdom. It got merged into Delhi kingdom. Sir, what is the duration of it? Can you tell me? I'm new to this class. Duration is when we complete this particular. Voice ये लोग बोल रहे हैं कुछ issue हो रहा है. Mic बाहर ही है bro. And it's every day like this only. Am I audible? And they are saying something like हर दिन ऐसे ही रहता है. कुछ issue आ रहा है वहाँ पे आप देख लीजिएगा. करते करते ना अगर स्किन से टच होगा ना तो प्रॉब्लम फर्स्ट टाइम प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. Cool, I think I would be audible now. Some issues happened, that has been rectified now. Cool, sir. So again, we are talking about Malik Muhammad Jayasi. He wrote Padmavat. We have talked about this Padmavat. And some people ask what is meant by Shiraz of the East. See, Shiraz is a place in Iran which is very beautiful for its, known for its very unique architecture. Same way Jaunpur is known in our country for its unique architecture, which was built by this Sarki dynasty, and that's why they are known as Shiraz of the East. Hope you understood what we are discussing here. So here there is a question mark. Behlol Lodi, he annexed Sarki kingdom, 1484 question mark. Because if you go back to the previous slide, we have discussed in 1493 they captured. So dates are little hazy. Some people say Behlol Lodi captured Sarki dynasty in its entirety. Other people say no. Behlol Lodi's successor, Sikandar Lodi, he captured Sarki dynasty in its entirety. So there are doubts related to the date. Don't worry too much about it. Fine. So let's continue our discussion. So Sikandar Lodi 1489 to 1517, we are equating him with FST in Aurangzeb, that he is a bigot like FST in Aurangzeb. That is one aspect of Sikandar Lodi. There are other aspects that he captured Sarki dynasty. He introduced Sikandar-e-Gaz, you know. He was one of the most powerful Lodi dynasty ruler, one of the most successful also. So all these points you have to keep it in mind. He destroyed Hindu temples, etc. And that's why these three are considered as bigot. FST, SL and AZ. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, Sikandar Lodi, Aurangzeb. Don't write abbreviation in exam. This will not help. We have also discussed this. He was one of the Delhi Sultanate rulers who means shifted capital from Delhi to Agra. This you have to remember. They can ask you who shifted capital from Delhi to Agra. Like initially when we were talking about Qutubuddin Aibak, we have seen the capital was, you know, the capital was Lahore. Capital of Qutubuddin Aibak was Lahore, and Iltutmish shifted capital from Lahore to Delhi. So all these points are important from exam perspective. Keep it in mind. Fine, sir. And then Sikandar-e-Gaz, which is a land measurement unit, introduced by Sikandar Lodi, later on continued by Sood dynasty, continued by Mughals. Rent rose, Jama and Hasil. This we have discussed during the period of FST, Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Rent, Jama and Hasil, how you will understand? Jama, you know, estimated revenue, and then Hasil is realized revenue. Same thing. He also prepared his own rent rolls, and that also continued in the subsequent period. Then we will talk about Ibrahim Lodi, and I keep on telling you about Bharatik Khoj. You know, Bharatik Khoj. And if you watch Bharatik Khoj, this is the guy who played Ibrahim Lodi in Bharatik Khoj. And if you watch that particular episode based on Lodi dynasty, you will realize that people are terrified of him. Even his relatives are terrified of him. Although he is very brave, but people are so terrified of this guy, you know. So this point again, you have to remember, he killed his elder brother Jalal Khan and he insulted his nobles openly. All these things are written here. He ruled from 1517 to 1526. This is the part which you have to keep in mind. Where is his storm? Panipat, we have discussed. He was brave, but, and again there is a lesson for all of us. Only bravery will not do. We need to have other attributes also. We need to have, you know, respect for other people. Suspicion is a part if you are a king, because you cannot trust anyone. But don't be so suspicious that you start insulting people openly. And again, here there is a, you know, lesson from managers also in IT and other sectors who insult their employees openly. Don't do that. Take them to a chamber and say whatever you want to say them in a secluded space. Never do this openly, bro. Lesson for other people also. See, history is teaching us so many things. And then, so brave, we have discussed all these points, that Babur was inspired by his bravery, and that's why he sent this guy to tell to other people related to Ibrahim Lodi that, tell them that he was awesome, he was brave, and I will make a tomb in Panipat only, where first battle of Panipat was fought. Ibrahim Lodi. And now we are talking about administration under Delhi Sultanate. Many people will believe that it was Islamic state. This was contradicted by Barni. Barni said that no, it was not an Islamic state because rulers were doing whatever was pleasing to them. They were not exactly following the core tenets of Sharia. Fine. And then no clear law of succession, primogeniture, corpuscinary inheritance, everything was dependent upon the rulers. So there was no clear law of succession. You can have a look at it. I will tell you some important keywords which you have to pay attention to, like the officers who were Nayab, etc. This is important. Bejati Khana, right? So central government, here what are important points which you have to keep in mind? Nayab. This is very important. This post you cannot forget. Like you talk about Amatyas, Peshwa, in the period of Marathas we'll talk about Peshwas. So Nayab. He is in fact the Sarve Sarva, you know, the person who will be doing the most of the work in Delhi Sultanate. He was the most powerful one and he enjoyed all the powers of Sultan. More than these posts, we'll talk about these posts. Just remember all the terms which we have discussed earlier. Diwane-Ariz, military department. Diwane-Kohi, agriculture department, you know. Diwane-Khairat, which took care of orphans and elders. Then we will talk about Diwane-Insha, which is a correspondence department. Diwane-Risalat, which is a religious affairs department. So these departments, please keep it in mind because UPSC and other exams are multiple times given these Diwan. Diwane-Ariz, Diwane-Risalat, Diwane-Insha, and they will give the meaning and then they will ask you which of them are correctly matched. So you have to pay attention to these words. Fine. So after Nayab, who is the most powerful one, you have Wazir, who is leading the finance department, called as Diwane Wizarat. Then Arize Momlik, this we have already discussed, introduced during the period of Alauddin Khilji. Diwane Ariz or Diwane Ars, which was a separate military department, was introduced by, you know, Balban, and then Arize Momlik during the period of Alauddin Khilji. So you can have a look at this. Then Diwane Risalat, religious affairs. Diwane Insha, Department of Correspondence. What is Department of Correspondence? If you have watched, in my time, there was a movie called as Maine Pyar Kiya. So, pigeons used to carry information from one place to another, from one lover to another. So, that is correspondence. So, those kind of departments were known as Diwane-Insha, right? Cool, bro. So, Diwane-Risalat, Diwane-Insha, head of the judicial department was Qazi. Again, focus on the Diwanes, rest things you will remember, don't worry too much about it, even if you forget them, but don't forget the Diwanes. Diwane Ariz, Diwane Kohi, Diwane Khairat, Diwane Risalat, Diwane Insha. Be a Diwane, you know, and remember all Diwanes. Local administration, Iktas we already know, and people who were holding those Iktas were Iktadars or Muktis. Now this is important because UPSC has asked questions. Similar kind of administration will be followed by Mughals later on. So Iktas were divided into Shikhs and then Parganas. Pargana you still have. Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act. When you will read modern history, you will read about these Parganas, you know. So Iktas, Shikhs and Parganas. I wanted to show you a song called as Shikdum, Shikdum, Dilbar, Shikdum, so that you can remember Shikhs. That's how you can remember Shikhs. But I did not find any simple image of Shikdum, which is a Dhoom song. All the images were, you know, not for less than 18 years old. So I found one good Dhoom image just to make you realize that it is Shikh. Dilbar Shikdum. Hope you heard that song. So Iktas, Shikhs and Parganas. That is a division or that is the hierarchy which you have to remember. Shikh, 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 Shikdum, Shikdum. Fine. Have a look at this. Important point is Iktas, Shikhs and Parganas. And then we have talked about all these lands. Ikta land, Khalisa land, Crown land, Inam land, land given for charitable purpose, Inam or Waqf land. All these lands were taken during the time of Alauddin Khilji from nobles. We have discussed this. He was very suspicious about it. Pargana is administrative unit. Yes, sir. So let's talk about the 7th question of the day. The king was freed from his people and they from their king, on whose death did Badayuni, he was a, you know, poet writer during the period of Akbar, on whose death did Badayuni comment thus? Again, you can guess who was the guy who created lots of problem for his people. Take a guess. Ikta greater than Shikh greater than Pargana. Cool. The king was freed from his people and they from their king, on whose death did Badayuni comment thus? Shikh, 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 Ikta, Shikh, Pargana. A. Balban, B. Alauddin Khalji, C. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, D. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. As Harish is saying, A. Dark is saying C. See, people were most, you know, Tughlaq did a lot of things. Sometimes there will be some ruler who will come and who will do so many things and who will make you like, oh my God, he's doing so many things. He's introducing token currency, shifting the capital. We are so fed up of him. Maybe his intentions are noble, but he should do the work. Why he's making us do the work? And that guy was Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Sometimes, okay. So, yeah. Question number 8. Which of the following is the correct chronological order of the Afghan rulers to the throne of Delhi? A. Sikandar Shah, Ibrahim Lodi, Behlol Khan Lodi. B. Sikandar Shah, Behlol Khan Lodi, Ibrahim Lodi. C. Behlol Khan Lodi, Sikandar Shah, Ibrahim Lodi. D. Behlol Khan Lodi, Ibrahim Lodi, Sikandar Lodi. Okay. A. Harish, Kajal, BSI. So, Behlol, Sikandar and Ibrahim. This is an easy question, right? So, C. 9th question. Historian Barni refused to consider the state in India and the Delhi Sultans as truly Islamic because A. Majority of the population did not follow Islam. B. Muslim theologists were often disregarded. C. Sultan supplemented the Muslim law by framing his own regulations. D. Religious freedom was accorded to non-Muslims. Dark has given the answer. We have discussed this. When we're talking about the nature of Delhi Sultanate, some people say that it was Islamic in nature. Barni was like, dude, what Islamic, yaar? Every ruler is doing their own things. Just in name, they are assuming that, okay, Khalifa is the head, but in reality, they are just doing whatever they want to do. So, Sultan supplemented the Muslim law by framing his own regulation, and that's why Barni was not very happy with the way these Delhi Sultanate rulers were carrying on with their conduct. So, the answer is C. We have discussed this. Last question of the day. In the context of medieval Indian history, consider the following statement about the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq and his initiative. First, he implemented the scheme of Deen-e-Ilahi as a unifying religion. Second, he shifted the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Third, he introduced a copper token currency at par with the value of silver taka coins. Fourth, he undertook a successful campaign to Karachil. How many of the statements given above are correct? A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, 3 only, D, all 4. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, 4 statements. First, he implemented the scheme of Deen-e-Ilahi as a unifying religion. Second, he shifted the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Third, he introduced a copper token currency at par with the value of silver taka coins. Fourth, he undertook a successful campaign to Karachil. How many of the statements given above are correct? And yes, do like Harish, write the question number and your answer, because sometimes there is a time lag and I'm not able to see which answer you are writing here, whether it belongs to 9 or 10. So, A1 only, B2 only, C3 only, D all 4. So, Harish and Bulbul have given the answer. So, Deen-e-Ilahi is not associated with him. That most of the people know, right? Akbar, Deen-e-Ilahi. So, 1 is wrong. He shifted the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. That is correct. He introduced a copper token currency. That is also correct. He undertook a successful campaign to Karachil. He undertook a campaign to Karachil, but that was a disastrous campaign. Karachil, Himachal Pradesh, he was defeated there. He wanted to go to China, but forget China. He came back to Delhi and lost his prestige somewhat, right? So, 4th is wrong, 1st is wrong, and the answer is 2 only, B, 2 only. It is tricky. It is tricky. None of you gave the correct answer. So, that means the question was tough. Please understand, you have to pay attention to the whole sentence. UPSC does this a lot. When they have to make a question tough, they will give half part as correct, half part as wrong. 4th statement is that particular statement where you have to very, very, pay attention to this, pay minute attention to these kind of sentences. So, yes, sir, reform or blunder, this was the image. Expedition to Northwest, see Karachil campaign, a fiasco. Only a handful of soldiers returned to tell tale of catastrophe. We have talked about this Karachil campaign, how he, what happened to him. So, this was a disaster. So, again, I will keep on telling, it doesn't matter whether you people are posting in the comment section or not, I will keep on telling to have a tab on your score, post it in the comment section, make it a habit. The sooner you do it, the better are your chances of clearing UPSC Pre 2025. Questions are tough, and these questions will make you, make your concepts better, and that will help you in UPSC Pre 2025. You will understand what I'm saying once you are done with UPSC Pre 2025. Fines, Karachil is in Himachal A. So, that's it. If you people have any doubt, you can post it in the comment section. You have, thank you, Kajal. So, yes, sir, if you have any comment, any doubt, anything related to your exam preparation, post it in the comment section. Otherwise, I will meet you people tomorrow. Good. Yaar, Kritika, Bulbul, Harish, awesome, yaar. Post it in the chat, or later on, you can also post it in the comment section. The people who will watch it later also. Cool. So, 6 out of 10, Bulbul has got 3, Harish has got 3. It doesn't matter, 3 is 0. The only thing is you have to revise. And I think you people do not have any doubt. So, I will see you tomorrow. Take care tomorrow at 7 p.m. Take care. Be blessed. Revise previous lectures. Then you will find all these questions more interesting, and that's it. A has got 5 out of 10. So, take care. Be blessed. Tata. Bye-bye.